Hi Taurus, this is Kelly from Moon Pie Tarot. This is your general monthly love reading for February 2017. I've already shuffled the cards and placed them. And I actually had something I wanted to say, and I can't remember what it was. Sorry. But, okay, I'm just going to get started with your reading. So you're actually going to start with your past position. You have the Nine of Pentacles. Nines usually represent intensity, so I feel like you are in this place, or at least were, coming out of this place, maybe having stability, feeling stable in your life, whatever may have happened in the past, whether it's in love or career or in your health. I just feel like you reach this place. This is an earth sign card, and this always reminds me of an earth sign. So if you can see, when I look at this card, she has her pentacles in this fountain. So this is kind of like a wish card, the wishing well for her. And the things that she's been manifesting throughout have begun to come through for her. And I feel like it's you just holding on to your stability in your life. Whatever decisions that you've made in the past you're starting to see those things materialize, and that is represented by the jewels that she's wearing. That's all her hard work. And it doesn't mean financially jewels. It's just you are proudly wearing your self-confidence coming out of the recent past, or at least last month, into this place. Your emotions are stable as well. Now some of you may be listening and saying, no, I'm not really feeling that way, but that could really just be all in how you look at it, because I always feel like if you base your entire life on Tuesday afternoon when you're feeling really bad, that's not fair, because the following day you could feel better, right? And so why not base your entire life on the days you feel great? And I feel like you probably have been doing that, really paying attention to your achievements and the things that you've been accomplishing in your life, at least in your love life. I just feel like some of you you've reached this point where you feel emotionally stable, and that's affecting your life in a very practical way. So you're more organized, you're able to hold on to your career, you've explored new things, you've really just this card sometimes is, it's almost as if it's close to being a queen, like you're on this ladder, you're making your way up to whatever it is that you are trying to accomplish. And because this is a love reading, that means in your love life you may have had some achievements in love recently, and you're beginning to wear them. Some of you may have even gotten engaged or got married. Okay. Now, what's in the present situation? Another 9 card. Okay, so the 9 of Rods. Now, I feel like for some of you, though, you're in this place now, though, where something's going on at home. There's a bit of resentment that you may be experiencing, something to do with another place. Either, I feel like this could have something to do with family, or perhaps if you are home, if you're living with someone, something has occurred, okay, which has caused you to kind of reach this point where you are just trapping yourself. Maybe you're isolating yourself from another person, or someone has been isolating themselves from you. There's something, I don't feel like it's anything major. I feel like some of you may have had an argument, or in February there could be an argument that takes place, okay, and it's caused disconnect, and it's caused someone to feel resentful and kind of trap themselves in this. It's almost like that person has caged themselves in this little jail cell that is clearly not caged here. I mean, that person can clearly walk through that door, right, and walk out of that situation, but I feel like it's choosing to stay in some kind of resentful situation, or almost as if the attitude of, well, I'll show them, right? But it's not really showing anyone, because you really just, it's almost like saying, well, if I just lock myself away, I'll show them. But how's that going to benefit you? You know, locking yourself away keeps you trapped, right? And with the challenge is the Five of Pentacles. So the challenge, and I almost feel like, Taurus, you had a reading like this last time. It could be something that's going on where maybe things were difficult, or you're dealing with a difficult situation, and then you got to this place where the stability came about, but then it's like back in the same situation again. So something, I feel like, may have been happening, or something's unresolved. Maybe it's got a temporary Band-Aid on it recently, but then it's, you know, that Band-Aid was ripped off again and the wound has not healed. So in the challenge position, again, it's the challenge to forgive. With this card, the Five of Pentacles. Fives actually represent challenges anyway, so with that being in the challenge position, that's interesting. It's also representative of instability, so there could be some kind of financial issue, something to do with the home, something to do with money. There's someone could be taking advantage of money situation, or spending too much, or, you know, but whatever the situation is occurring, even if you're single, okay, and you're in this situation at home where, you know, you feel like you can't get out from under because maybe you feel like people aren't letting you be free, or whatever it is, whatever's holding you back. The challenge is, the obstacle is to try to find forgiveness and to be supportive, and also to try to have other people support you, or another person. Okay, if it's not you, really the issue is that someone is holding on to some kind of resentment and is not being supportive. That's really all it is, whether it's you or another person, okay? Because I feel like someone is trying to stay on top and have their lives in order and be happy, but there's some kind of interference that's causing, there's a lack of support. Well, it's not so much really a lack. It is in the sense that because it's in the challenge position, it's difficulty getting the support that's needed. Okay, whether it's from a partner, or it's you trying to be supportive of someone who maybe you are angry with right now. And that's normal. I mean, it's difficult to be supportive of someone when you're in the throes of frustration, because you're feeling a certain way. Now, what's grounding you, and this is the driving force, is ultimately you're trying to have happiness, okay, with another person. There's just trying to, everyone just celebrate. Can we all just find a workable situation? Can we just be happy? Why are you and I going through this over and over again? Okay, why are we having these issues? You're just looking to have peace. You're looking to have fun. You're looking to be joyous. You want maybe the good times back. You know, even if you are separated from someone, you know, there's a lot of messages coming through to me. Even if you are separated from someone and you're trying to get yourself moving forward, someone could just be making it difficult for you to do that. And you just want to be happy. You want happiness. And, you know, as I said, the 9, so you've got a 9 here, a 9 here, a 9 here. So you've got all these 9s. And 9 times 3 is 27. 2 plus 7 is 9. So 9s are very significant for you in the month of February. Maybe some of you have a birthday on February 9th, or February 9th might be significant to you, or February 7th. 2, 7 is 9. Again, 9s represent intensity. So there's something that I feel is happening with you guys that has to do with this number 9. I don't know what the significance is of it, but it's going to be a very intense time to deal with something. I don't feel like anything super negative is going to happen. I just feel like it's just coming out to me, something with that number. Now, in the position of what's crowning you, you've got the Ace of Swords. So this is a desire to overcome obstacles through communication. Okay, you or another person is trying to talk through things, trying to talk, trying to get like a new start. There's a lot of miscommunication, and there's decisions that need to be made, and there's difficulty overcoming them. Someone's trying to speak, another person is not listening, and that's why this card's in the challenge position, because it's saying, you know, someone's not helping, someone's not paying attention, someone's not listening, as I said. So what's crowning in your thought process is, how do I get through? How do I speak to this person? Or another person is trying to figure out how to get through to you, you know. In the position of the future, you've got the Ten of Swords. So this is dropping the sword. This is the first line of order, and I think Aquarius had this in the same position, is to stop arguing, to stop fighting, okay, to let time pass, let things go. The swords represent words and thoughts. Okay, so if there's been bickering or arguing or things like that going back and forth, this card is really saying what's coming to you is this stopping of this. And as I said to Aquarius, the same thing. Once you drop that sword, that other person will drop that sword. When you can't fight someone in a boxing ring if you're not in the ring, and they can't fight you either. So it's really just about getting out of the ring. Okay, if you want this to end. And it's not so much a bad idea, because I feel like the difficulty in having communication to overcome obstacles is because there's still a lot of arguing going on. And once that's put down, okay, and there's time to rest and heal and have peace, then, you know, maybe you not being in a state of anger really, when they're not being able to solve problems when you're angry, it doesn't usually work. In the position of you and your advice, you've got the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, so your advice is to be as loving and generous as you can right now, regardless of whether you are right or wrong. Okay, and this is not about the other person. This is about you, okay? To be that life-giving person, that person who you are. You know, you're very tender, and you can see right through things, and you can be tough sometimes, but you call a spade, and the advice is for you to try to be a bit more grounded and practical, yet to be tender and gentle, okay, and loving in regard to this situation, even if you're angry. And I feel like once this sword has been dropped and you get to that place where you're no longer interested in arguing, I feel like that's going to come out much more easily. You'll be able to be yourself again, right? Both Pentacles. So it's like you're here, coming from the past, trying to be this queen, and then your advice is to get to that point. Okay, now in the position of how others are viewing you, once those swords are dropped and that arguing is starting, they're going to see you actually being serious, and you're ready to get to work. You are willing to do whatever it takes to make things work in a relationship or in your dating life. You are ready to plant seeds and, you know, stop this arguing. Let's get down to business here. Let's really solve this problem, and let's get to work on it. And let's start, you know, really taking care of what needs to be taken care of. You know, when you plant the seeds, you have growth, but you have to take care of that growth, right? In order for things to grow, you have to nurture. And that's what the Queen of Pentacles is. She's a nurturer. So I feel like dropping the sword and getting to that point, this is how people are going to view you, and they're going to just be like, wow, they're serious. They really do want to solve this, because they're not just putting up with it anymore. Whatever it is, they're not dealing with it anymore. Now, in the position of your hopes and fears, you've got the Six of Swords. So, you know, this is you hoping that And as I said, swords are about mental energy, hoping that you can get out of this chaotic situation because it's affecting you emotionally and move into calmer waters. Okay, but you could also be fearing somewhere deep down in your mind that maybe somebody is going to give up on you. And these are just hopes and fears, and they don't represent actual things happening. They can't be predictive of that. It's just really coming through to me that pay attention to what you are thinking. You know, if you focus on the fear and someone walking away from you, then that's just, yeah, it's just saying for you to focus on the hopes, to go from getting out, because that's the ultimate goal, to solve these problems. Okay, is to get away from this chaotic situation that's causing you emotional stress. Okay, and to move away from that. Now, in the position of your outcome, you have the Ten of Rods and the High Priestess. So the Ten of Rods is just coming through to say that don't put too much unnecessary burden on yourself right now, okay? If someone else was in the wrong in a situation, it's not your job to fix it. It's their job to fix it. So don't, this card talks about, you know, this person, if you can see, whenever I look at this card, this person to me always seems to be a victim because they're allowing these rods to fall on them. I mean, this person could easily just stand up and push back, right? So it's coming through like, do not allow this situation here or any person to victimize you in regard. If someone's wrong, they need to take care of that, okay? There is a lot of unknown that's coming through, and you will be pulling back and just trying to cycle through this phase, okay? The High Priestess, she's very intuitive, so tap into those powers of yours, of your intuition and your emotions, and pay attention to them, but also know that whatever emotional however this is affecting you emotionally, it will pass. It will pass. Do not let it burden you so much. Even if another person, even if you drop your sword and you take the high road and become the better person, and even if they don't follow up or they don't try to fix their side of the issue, don't let it overwhelm you. Try to stay focused, be the High Priestess, pay attention to your intuition, follow your heart, follow your gut, and things will turn out for the best. I'm going to pull an oracle card for you. As I've been saying in my readings, I just got this deck. I don't know it. It doesn't have messages on it. So if I pull a card that I don't understand, I'm going to have to look it up and read it. I've only had that happen once, but of course it could happen again. So let's see. I actually got this deck a couple days ago. So what is the message for Taurus, the advice for the month of February 2017? Oh. Choose peace. Okay, so that resonates very well with your end reading and what you need to do here. The message that they want you to know is whatever the situation is, it will resolve, but just choose to drop the sword, to stop fighting, and choose to be at peace. The person on this is Paramahansa Yogananda. I don't know who that is. If you know who that is, do let me know. Okay, but the message here, very clear. Whatever the situation is that's going on in your single life, dating life, or with another person, always choose peace first, and then things can be resolved. Okay, Taurus, so those are your messages for February. If you wish for a personal reading, you can always email me at moonpietarot@gmail.com. Beginning to get a little bit backed up, so get your request in soon so it doesn't take way too long to get your reading out to you. And I do hope that you have a very wonderful and beautiful February. Take care, and I will see you soon. Okay, bye.